Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Only One United. Uh, it's not a very happy stream that we are doing right now, but yeah, we had promised that we'll do one, so here it is. United have just lost 1-0 to Chelsea in the FA Cup final. We came so close, but it's ended up in a heartbreak. Namrata, initial thoughts on the game and the performance, and just a narrow defeat to the third time FA Cup. Like back to back, they won third time.
Yeah, it's a third successive win for them, and I think 6 in 9 years. So, like, obviously feeling very, very disappointed. It's heartbreaking, and I think it's even more heartbreaking when it's a 1-0. Uh, like, if it's a worst loss, then you kind of feel that, yeah, the team was not good enough to win. But I think we were absolutely brilliant in the first half. And I think even in the starting of the second half, we were good. But then Panela Harder got subbed in, and then suddenly we kind of lost the plot. So disappointed, but I think I'm still like really proud of the team because I think when we play Chelsea, there is a lack of belief in the team that we can go on and win. And I think at least for the first 60 minutes, we went for it. And I think if we had converted one or two chances that we had in the first half, we might have just won. So disappointed, yes, but yeah, I think like a decade of disappointments, you get used to it.
That's true, but I don't know. For me, I think it's hurting a little more. Like, obviously, it's hurting everyone equally, but still, like, I'll take some time to get over it. I'm obviously, like you've mentioned, we're proud of the team. We've made huge strides, and this can be a learning experience as well. But the 1-0, it's like 1-0 is like, yeah, we were just there and we just conceded one goal. What if? And we'll get to the goal. Obviously, there are various things that we need to talk about, but overall, as well, I saw so many players in tears, like on the verge of tears as well. uh, it's hard seeing them like this because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter tag the players especially, and take out the frustration on them, like especially after tagging the players. So obviously, whenever, like in terms of as fans, we need to ensure that we don't do that. Tagging the players is not the thing that will change what has happened today. So first of all, that was something that I needed to mention out and call it out, the behavior from the fans, some of the fans. But overall as well, like you mentioned, Panil harder clutch as always. I don't know how Chelsea are going to acclimatize to her departure, and even Magdalena Eriksson. Coming to Magda, I and Bright wasn't playing today. I actually felt something. You remember the Neve Charles tackle that happened on Ona Bati? Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, I
It
was
was.
thinking exactly that. I was like, in your face, man.
How don't you get a red card for doing that? Like you hug the player from behind and just push them. Like I don't know what to call that, but I've seen a lot of that in WWE and MMA. So
Yeah,
and obviously VAR was there today for the first time. So how did we feel about VAR, Namrata?
I think like the penalty call was obviously
Dicey.
controversial. I mean, to be honest, I think it was one of those things where if the referee had given a penalty, VAR would not have overturned that. Like it was very close. It was a 50-50 decision, and I think
Hmm.
the VAR would have stayed with whatever the on-field referee had decided. But I think it should have been a penalty. It looked like from the replays that uh, I think it was Neve Charles, wasn't it, who fouled Paris?
I'm
I think.
not too sure, but I
Yeah,
don't remember. But yeah,
yeah.
Paris was the one who was
But
brought down.
yeah, but I think it felt like it was just over the line. And I don't feel nice about saying that, but I also think that if it was any other player apart from Paris, we might have still got a penalty because like we've seen like Nikita Paris in general, like she sometimes goes down easily. So maybe that might have been on the referee's mind. But I think it looked like a penalty. It wasn't a straight away penalty decision. So uh, it would have been great if we had got a penalty and Katie Zellum scored at Wembley. But it didn't happen. And but I think even without the penalty, there were a lot of chances that we should have taken. So
Yeah, like remember towards the second half of the game, we could easily see that we weren't able to make like we weren't even taking any shots, be it off the target, on the target, be it easy shots for the goalkeeper to pick the ball up. We weren't making them at all, and only I think Leah Golden was the one who was making those shots.
yeah,
So if you aren't testing the goalkeeper, how will you incite that fear in Chelsea that United are on an attacking run right now? There were so many good chances we could have converted. Even if it wasn't a goal, it could have been a shot on the target. So that's really frustrating me. What do you feel about that? Obviously, you also put out a tweet when it happened that Leah was the only one who was putting those chances in.
I think a lot of times throughout the season, we've had a tendency where it feels like we're trying to pass the ball into the net. Uh, a lot of times when we take shots, they're either blocked or they're not on target. Uh, and like not even talking about second half, right? Like in the first half itself, I thought we had some pretty good opportunities. I think Leah also had a header which went over the bar, and uh, like I don't even remember. Like there were so many chances. I think, like if you look at Chelsea, they had obviously the chance that Chelsea had, from which they scored the goal. That was a much clearer, a much easier goal to score. Like the cross from Harder was perfect, and Kerr was there, right there to tap it in. I don't think we had that quality of chances even in the first half, but I think in a final in the first half when you started off so well and you're playing against a team like Chelsea, I think you need to find that moment of quality, and we just didn't find that. In the second half, we were always going to drop off. We kind of always do that against Chelsea. In last season, the last match, where the first half, we played really, really well. We were all surprised, where did this team come from, and and then we kind of just weren't good enough. And the thing is that I knew that if I see our midfield struggling, that is the worst sim that's the worst thing for me, because I know there will not be a midfield substitution. Like if a forward is not playing well, I still feel a little bit confident that we can bring on another forward, because Mark will bring on two or three forwards. But midfield is where there are no substitutions. So the moment that I saw that the midfield is kind of struggling in the second half, I knew it's not really going to be our day.
Yeah, like we saw Leah Golden, Rachel Williams, Alessia Russo, Martha Thomas, Rachel Williams, four forwards together towards the end of the game. So obviously, like we'll come back to the Spurs game. I think you must have watched the game as well.
Yeah.
Uh, Vilde-Borisa was so. Obviously, we'll come back to the same point as always. We are being repetitive. We are reiterating the stuff we've said in the past match reactions. But after that performance, especially because Vilde actually started, Vilde Borisa was playing so well in the last game, and we had a good, competent midfield. Uh, Obviously, like Namrata also mentioned, I think it was the game before the semi final when Vilde started, and then Namrata
Yeah.
said this is an indication that Vilde won't start in the semi final, and that thing actually happened. So obviously, I knew that Vilde won't start the final. But if you look at that midfield against Spurs, obviously the change from Spurs to Chelsea is also very like the gap between them is quite high. But still, we had a competent midfield. We were able to progress the ball from the midfield. This time, we could see that Maya Letizia and Millie Turner had to pass the ball amongst themselves before actually hoofing the ball over the midfield. So that was I personally call it a little time wasting because you weren't proactive enough to progress the ball. This is something that all of us have said: quick ball progression. So uh, that's a major concern for me, and I just want like whatever I'm saying, I'm just saying that you watch Vilde Borisa play so good in the last game, and then you think she hasn't even get gotten even a single second to play in the final. How is that fair? How is that a merit based selection that's happening right now?
I think I'll come to the Wilde part in a while, but I think when you said that, Maya Letizia and Millie Turner were kind of passing the ball amongst themselves and then hoofing it up, I think Chelsea actually did that a lot more. And I think United tried to do that in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the game, but we were not effective with that. Like, our players were not really making the kind of runs that Sam Kerr makes, for example. So we have to. So we tried something similar, but Chelsea, tactically, it's not like we were tactically outsmarted. The the tactics of the best team in England is hoopball. uh, but we know that, right? And if you look at the team that started today, it's the same team. I think maybe a player here or there, we started the previous two games against Chelsea as well. So, and we lost both of the games. We lost at home, we lost away at Kings Meadow. And I was actually hoping that we'll make some small changes. We'll try to change it up, because we have seen that the same thing, it doesn't work against Chelsea. It worked in the 60 minutes, and if we had scored, it would have probably been fine. But I think even then, I would have felt like Chelsea would have scored a couple of goals in the match again. Uh, I think, as Blupe also mentioned, right, that it's the substitution, it's the bench that Chelsea have. It's not just that they have the number of players, but they have the quality of players that can come on and score amazing goals. And they have different players for different situations. Uh, for me, and I was talking to you about this just before we came on, that you know we managed a 1-0 because it was a 90-minute game. If it had gone into extra time, we would have definitely like conceded a couple more goals, because the players were getting tired. And I did not really see Mark making any like, we would have got one more substitution, but I don't think we would have made the right substitution. Again, the midfield is tiring. I don't really see that. Another thing with Vilde Boy, as you mentioned, again, it's an old topic. We've talked about it over and over again. I think the kind of performances that she's had, she's justified that she should be selected. And I don't think that when you say, okay, don't start her, but bring on as a sub. But I think in a game like this, where it's just a one-off game, you have to win it. Like, it's the final. I think there's no problem. Like, you can start her as well, right? Like, she has played really well in the last game. If you look at our last 5 or 6 games, we've actually had very poor performances. Even the semi-final against Brighton, we did not have a good performance. Against Arsenal as well, I don't think we played really well. The only good performance we've actually had is against Spurs, and that was because Wilder was playing, and she brings Tooney into the game as well, and that kind of gives us that dynamism, that gives us that forward threat. I think Tooney was good in the first half. I think she was kind of ineffective in the second one. And when the system is kind of set up in a way where she doesn't, like, there is a huge gap between you play a double pivot, and like Tooney is the forward one, and then Russo kind of drops deep to get the ball. That is when it kind of just stops. It's kind of playing into the opposition hand. And I do think, like, all our substitutions, anyone could have guessed that, which was the same thing that, as I said, right, it was the same team last time, it was the same team the previous
I
time.
think
The
like the last
substitutions
time,
were the
it,
same.
it was basically the same team, but the 3-1 loss that we had, I think it was at LSV. In that
Yeah,
game, or was it? No, yeah, at LSV we lost 3-1, right? In the first game of the season,
yeah,
like
yeah,
for the Chelsea game.
yeah.
In that, Ona wasn't playing because she had a
Oh yeah,
concussion.
yeah.
Maria was playing.
That's
Other than
correct.
that, the same team.
Other
In
than
the
that, it
1
was
nil
the
loss,
same
the
team.
same team, and
Yeah.
today as well, the same team.
Yeah, I think again, the thing with Vilde Boyisa is that she is a midfielder who's going to score goals for you. She's going to not just create chances, but over the FA Cup we have seen that, and especially in the FA Cup, right? Like, up till the semi-final, she's played every game. I think she scored or assisted in every single game in the FA Cup whenever she has been given a chance. I understand that obviously we were not playing. We played all the championship sides. We did not play a big side in FA Cup till we were in the semi-finals. But you know, I just think she deserved to start. And I know the double pivot because you want to have a defensive setup against Chelsea, but then again, if you want to attack when it is a final and there is no reason for you not to attack, especially when you're losing, when you're 1-0 down, like what do you have to lose, right? In that situation, at worst you lose by 3-0, but on the other hand, if you have a player who can progress the ball, who can create chances, you might just end up winning it. And I think that was the one thing I thought will be different this time, because we don't have because usually, like, let's say when we're playing Chelsea, right, we see a lot of times it's probably in the manager's head that, we don't want to lose by a lot of goals because it will affect our goal difference. But that was not the case this time. You just had to go out and try to win. And I think that this is one thing that, we've had this criticism of Skinner from the first game of the season till now. And sometimes it works, and then we have some very good moments like Millie Turner winning the last match, the previous match. But when we don't, when we don't, then it just feels like there was no answer to anything.
And what hurts most is that we could have easily scored more. Like we could have scored one goal, two goals, and maybe like obviously we were a little tired towards the end of the game. Not even towards, but around the 60th minute mark, I would feel that we were seeing that there were tired legs, and since then we've been crying out for Lucia Garcia, even Martha Thomas. I said, bring on Martha Thomas, bring on fresh legs because you need that pace, you need that active players on the pitch so that you can easily go past this whole Chelsea team that they've created. And I think when we come back to the Panila Harder point, obviously, no disrespect to the players who were on our bench, but the quality that Chelsea have off the bench is quite good. And I think Bluppy mentioned it in the comments in the live chats. So like when Panila Harder came in, I thought, okay, fine, what happened? We'll bring on Lucia Garcia. So I was being a little adamant, even knowing that Panila Harder has caused a lot of issues to United in the past. But I was like, okay, fine, she's coming after an injury. Of what can she do that we can't tackle, that we can't sustain? But I think Ona shouldn't have overcommitted over there. I don't know who she was pressing. It was the person who made that pass to Panila Harder, and then Panila Harder like squared it to or crossed it to Sam Kerr. And Sam Kerr was actually supposed to be marked by Ona. Like Maya and Ona were supposed to mark Sam Kerr in that scenario, but yeah, it wasn't meant to be. I feel. Uh, I don't know. Like you've mentioned, like we've already mentioned, we weren't taking shots. We weren't clinical enough, and I think we were too focused on taking precise shots that we were too focused on. Okay, this shot needs to be in goal. That we spend 90% of the time just thinking about it, and not taking the actual shot. So that's something that needs to, like, obviously this needs to change, that needs to change, but we all always come back to the same point that we are right where we are always crying for the same things. But I don't know. Like I think what you've mentioned is somewhat true that Vilde Borisa, even though we've faced less tougher teams than the WSL quality, she's still come clutch. Like there were a lot of players who could have stepped up, but it was actually Vilde Borisa who stepped up. I still remember that free kick goal that she scored against Durham and actually started the whole attack. I think we were still nil till that time, and then she scored, and then we scored four more. So you just need that one push of momentum to just start scoring more, and that's what I felt that we needed today. And towards the last few seconds, the holes, the ruckus
I
inside the
think
box,
that
I was
was,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh God,
Heart attack.
please let it happen, please let it happen. So yeah, if for example, if by chance Katie Zillam had put in a I think it was a corner or a free kick. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was just thinking, if she does this, she might become the cult hero of injury time winners, maybe. uh, but yeah, it is what it is.
I think
What did you think of the goal that Chelsea scored? Yeah,
I think so. So when you said about Ona overcommitting there, so I think there was a pie chart or something that was there, shared on Twitter by somebody, which showed like Ona's percentiles in different areas, and so
yeah,
she's amazing when she's going forward. But if you look at the the places where the pie chart was kind of had lower metrics.
Yeah.
That was actually in tackles, interceptions. Obviously, aerially, she's not a tall player, but tackles and interception is also not where she's like she's not Van Bissaka, right? So she does tend to overcome it, and I think that is something that she has to work on. I do think that sorry, I do think that because most of the times, if you take away the top three sides in WSL against most of the teams, she doesn't need to make those tackles, or she's not in those positions where she will have to intercept the ball. She's much higher up on the pitch, and her role is actually to create chances. So I kind of understand that yes, she overcommitted. That is something that she has done previously as well. But I also think that in the right side, usually what happens, and especially when Paris is playing, a lot of times it happens that if you get past Ona, then it's like a free ride. Then you
Mm.
have the free right side, and players can put in a pass, or they can put in a cross. So this is exactly the thing that happened, that once you get past Ona, because I don't think like Paris has been that well in terms of the defensive side. Sometimes she can probably go back and drop deep in the last few matches, but usually she's not really the player, and that kind of hurt us. And even if you try to mark Sam Kerr, she will eventually find a way to be in the right area. So yeah, I mean, that was a very good goal that they scored. I think we should have done better, but that goal is not really why I'm disappointed. There were a lot of moments, and as you said about the last few minutes, I think we lost our heads in the last 5 or 6 minutes, because there were a lot of long passes which were aimed at nobody. We were clearing the, like, there would be nobody out uh, around the players, and they would just hoof it back up to they play it back, and so to the Chelsea goalkeeper. And I think what was needed was a calm set of heads, that you look for that one opportunity in the right area. And I think that is something that did not happen. Obviously, I think Rachel Williams is somebody who's come in, who's had, she has scored very important goals for us in the past. But I do think at 60 minutes, she's not really a 60 minutes kind of sub. She's probably more like a 78-minute sub. So like when you subbed in Mannion and Lucia Garcia, I think Lucia Garcia should have been subbed in at 60 minutes. And then Rachel Williams should have come on closer to the 75, or whenever the second subs happened. Because at that point when we were struggling, when Panella Harder had come on, you needed somebody who's direct, who's going to be running at the Chelsea team, and also somebody who who try to put in some defense, right? Uh, Rachel Williams, again, she's good in the areas where you have to keep your head and you play simple football. That's just her thing. If you have everybody in the team trying to pass the ball into the net, she's not the one. She just wants to score. She'll do it old fashioned simple way. But when you bring her on a 60 minutes, there'll be a lot of times when you rely on your wingers or your forwards to carry the ball forward. And I don't think she has that pace. And we saw,
And by that time, the other wingers that were on the pitch, they were already very tired as well. So you
yeah,
couldn't rely on them.
so you need somebody who will be like quite fast and everything, which Lucia would have
Exactly.
got on. And then if you have a forward who's running at their defense, that makes them tired as well, especially after Chelsea played a midweek fixture. uh, so you bring Lucia on, let her make people tired for 20 odd minutes, and then you bring Rachel Williams to kind of exploit the defense. So I think the timing of the substitution and the players who were substituted were not correct. I also think that usually, so the last corner that Zelem took, which was a floated corner, like a lofted corner, I was so mad. I was like, I know that it was, we probably got a shot or something like that, but I thought, we have scored from so many last minute corners, and you just need that bit of quality. And man, that Russo chance when she got the ball and she just, I don't know what she did. I was so disappointed, because I think for us that was the best chance we had in the second half, and I just think, yeah, they lost their heads towards the end.
Even that, Leah Galton chance. I think that was a
Yeah,
little tricky because she wanted to take it from her stronger foot and it was
yeah,
coming towards her weaker foot. So that
yeah.
was a little tricky, but at the same time, that whole
But like
build
Russo
up,
was
that whole,
unmarked, she had space, but she like
yeah.
absolutely mishit it. So I was just like, what has happened, guys? Just
And
yeah,
even that, I think the Millie Turner, like the free kick that Katie Selim got, and it was tuned into Millie Turner, and I think AKB made a save over there in
yeah,
the first half.
yeah.
And the 40 second Galton goal that was offside. Like imagine if that was the way the game
I was
started and we could have won 1-0 then.
I was making noises like an injured animal, like when the first minute goal happened, and obviously it wasn't a goal. But at these times, you wish like we did not have VAR. You're like, let it be. It's just a small distance. It's fine. So
Yeah, we are spoiled people because in WSL the refereeing is quite bad.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I don't know. I talking about it helped, but still, like if I look at the score line, I see Chelsea 1 United 0, and it's like, damn, it's a repeat of that Kings Meadow game. Obviously, we were miles better in this game, but it wasn't meant to be or whatever it is. But I don't know. Putting it into words is a little difficult. But yeah, we'll
I think
we are coming towards the end. So Namrata, just yeah.
I think if I'm very honest about how I feel right now is that, like I was critical of the team and a lot of things about the team, about the substitutions, about the way we play in certain situations, uh, the kind of lineup that we had. And I think because it had been so long, like we'd been saying that again and again and nothing happened, just giving Wilde a chance, for example. Like I was very vocal about this and I used to feel very strongly about it. But I think I just realized there's no point doing that, and because it's not going to happen. And towards the end of the season, there were a lot of times when we did not play well at all. And I just thought, what does it matter? It's the home stretch, it is the last part of the season. As long as we're winning, we're getting results, that is fine. Uh, so at this moment, when I see that the same things that we've been saying again and again, they kind of come back to haunt us, it feels very tiring. It like I'm very, very disappointed about it. And I don't have it in me. I don't have the heart to say that yes, the things that were the issues from the start, it's the same thing. Like I don't really have the heart to criticize the team. So I do think a lot of them did not play well, but I do think like Mark also did not make the right substitutions. But I honestly just
But
don't have the heart
yeah,
to criticize, because it's so because the heart is already broken, right? Like, so how can you? So but again, I think the good thing is we've got Champions League. So uh there's a
but
very
then
good,
again, like you mentioned a thing where like we were talking about, I think Ona defensively we were saying, so on a consistent basis when we face teams of Chelsea's quality or better quality,
yeah.
I think we'll have to up our game as well, and we can't be continuing the way we are operating right now. So
Yeah.
I think this can be a humbling experience, this can be a learning experience and a wake up call maybe.
It's definitely a humbling and learning experience, but I think like if you like I genuinely think if you're a player and our team has a limit, right? They played well for 60 minutes. Obviously Harder is a very good player, but if you're a player, you might be feeling, okay, I could not have done anything more. That yes, maybe if you're Russo, you might be thinking, okay, what if I had scored, or if Leah, like maybe I could have taken a better shot. But the players have done their part. uh, the substitutions and who comes on and plays, that is not in the players' hands. So is the learning experience just there for the players, or is it also there for the team, for the coaches? Because at least over the course of 1 year, I can see that they haven't really learned. Like that is what we kind of get, right? Because if it's the same starting 11 across 3 matches, it just means that you have one level. Sometimes there will be players who can up their level and win against teams like Brighton against Spurs, and get that goal against an Arsenal team who's missing a lot of players. But when you go head to head with a team like Chelsea, who have a lot of quality, who have most of their players available, you don't have that level, that higher level, and you don't have any X factor or anything different because you haven't tried or experimented that. So, like, I honestly think if you're a player today, you just hold your head up high. Like even Sam Kerr missed a couple of chances. So like missing chances is something that'll happen, but I do think that if you're a player, what do you do if you're not getting the right substitutions? If you see that the midfield is not doing well, or Tooney has been marked out of the game, you're looking for answers, you're looking for solutions. And if you're not getting that, you can't just say that, oh, it'll be a humbling experience for the players. They're already learning quite a lot, but they need that additional quality. You either get that additional quality by bringing better players around them, or you get that additional quality by the manager bringing in substitutions who kind of elevate the team. Uh, so just hope I don't know. Like I think the worst thing is that two of the players might actually leave from this team as well, and then I don't know. Yeah,
You got CL, Namrata. Be a little more optimistic.
I just I think I'm not no I'm optimistic about being in the Champions League because again it's the first time we might just fluke our way into like group stages,
Group
maybe even
stages.
knockouts or anything. But for me, it's just if you look at the team today, and I love this team. I have followed this team for 4 years. Watched every single match that they have played, some matches twice, and I look at those players, and two of our best players, I don't know if they will be there or not. And so like during at the end when they when they were showing after the final whistle, they were showing Russo's face when she was looking at the crowd, and in my head it was like, okay, it might actually just be the third last game that we ever see from her. And I was like no, like I don't know.
And the moment like they were showing Russo on screen and she was holding back tears and she was looking
Yeah,
at the whole crowd, united crowd.
it
So
looked like a goodbye to an extent, uh, because
don't. I have
yeah,
already had a huge heartbreak today. Please don't increase the level of sadness right now. But yeah, obviously
I think
the
I think
moment.
one thing that I want to put in, that I think Vishesh has put a really good comment where it's like, what is it that uh, is needed to take us to the higher level? Like, what is that X factor that we need in the team? And I think the X factor, obviously, as we saw in Chelsea today, is you need some individual players who just have that higher level. So you need players like Sam Kerr who will rise to the occasion, finish the shots, but you need players like Panela Harder who are going to come on and just change the game. You need a bench of players who have their own roles. So we saw that Jess Carter came on late on. Manila Harder came on. Erin Cuthbert has her own role, uh, and I think Emma Hayes is not as averse to changing her, like not making subs, because she has a lot of players, and a lot of those good players actually did not even play today. Like Kankovic did not play today. Millie Bright was injured, and this is basically our fully fit team, and we just don't have the options. So I think for us to go to the next level, we need to have at least a couple of players who will just take the game to a higher level, who will make everyone raise their levels. So somebody like a Sam Kerr or a Panela Harder, we can get those players because now we're in Champions League. Now we have the money. Now we also have the we can actually sell the project to players to make them come. Hopefully, with new owners, we will also be able to pay salaries to people like who are maybe somewhat competitive. We don't pay well, and I think you also need a manager who is willing to try out different combinations. Like even if you have a world class bench, but you are still playing the same players over and over again, uh, it doesn't make sense. I don't think you will succeed that much.
That's right, and I think I agree with having players who can play different role and having that ability to come off the bench and make changing things around. Because this season, if we talk about it, I think I've seen that only with Lucia Garcia on some occasions when she's come off the bench and scored goals, and I've seen it with Rachel Williams, like she's been quite clutch, but then again, her role is to perform after the 75th or the 76th minute. No, sorry, not. Like after 80th minute. Like if you bring her on, she'll make that impact. But if you bring her on, like you mentioned, in the 60th minute, uh, it will be a little difficult for her to, have that impact that she can have in those last 10 minutes. So I think having players who can play that role. Obviously, I'm not saying that I'm not comparing Panila Harder with Rachel Williams. Both are very different players, but I'm just saying that the role of Rachel Williams in this team right now is to come off the bench around the 80th minute and make that goal, make that impact, like we saw against Reading, like we saw in the FA Cup semi-final as well. So obviously, things didn't go our way today, but you've mentioned that we are already heartbroken. We've
It's
seen the players on the verge of
it's
tears.
I think the way you compare them, to be honest, it's a bit like if you compare Anthony Martial to somebody like Mohamed Salah, right?
No,
So,
like I'm not saying that both
yeah,
are similar players. Like
yeah,
I'm saying that
yeah,
Rachel Williams' role is specific
yeah,
to a certain thing. So
yeah.
similarly, Lucia Garcia's role right now should have been like, or in this game, I actually feel bad to say that Lucia Garcia's role as a bench player, because Lucia Garcia has that quality to be a starting 11 player. But I think, like you mentioned as well, we should have reversed the substitutions. Like we should have brought Lucia Garcia earlier on to provide the legs, to provide the pace that we needed. So yeah, Chelsea fans
I
are
just,
coming in the live chat
I
saying, "Haha, you
just,
lost."
I just think that the team that we have got right now is good enough to win most of the games. I don't think the team is good enough to win the games against top opposition. And we have the same team for all occasions. And it just happened like at this. Like again, I'm just saying, this is I'm really proud of them for their performance because like when you play against Chelsea, you feel, it can be a 3-0 or 4-0 loss. Like the thing that I was dreading the most was that the way Chelsea lost to Barcelona in the Champions League final. Like I think it was their first Champions League final and they lost like 4-0
Four
or something like
zero,
that.
yeah, 4-0.
And they were absolutely abysmal. And I was like, that should not happen, right? Like it's our first final and maybe the occasion can get to us. But thankfully we were nothing like Chelsea in that it's a TCM on you. So but like just like no disrespect to Chelsea. I think they're a very good side. But I was really happy that we gave them a run for their money, and if we had scored maybe one goal in the first half, it would have been a lot more competitive in the second half.
That's true. So yeah, the focus now shifts to the league. Two games remaining: City and Liverpool. I think City one is at home and Liverpool one is
In the
away.
way, yeah,
Yeah, and Chelsea are facing three teams. I think one of them is Reading, West Ham, and Arsenal. Like
yeah,
West Ham, Arsenal, and then Reading. So last game is Reading.
yeah.
Uh, Arsenal, please, 21st May. I'll be praying a lot because I think of like straight when our game against Manchester City ends, their game against Arsenal starts. Like they are on
No,
the
I
same
think
day but
we
different
play
times.
after them. I think.
We play after them. I don't think
I
so.
think so because
Like
somebody
yeah,
was
yeah,
saying
yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah. We have
So
a
even
kickoff of
though,
11:15. Yeah,
and can you imagine? Like I was thinking, like when that happened, right? I was like, "Ki if somehow Chelsea lose or they draw, can
but
you imagine the kind of nerves that United will feel going into the match?
but now the issue is their goal difference is also similar to ours. Like they've scored so many goals in the last two games that
But
they
I
are
think
also on plus
if they
42.
draw, yeah, but if they draw, I think we will be 1 point ahead.
No, if they draw, we'll be on level
No,
because
they're
on
1 point
49
ahead of the
points.
two. They're
No,
on.
they are on 49 points and they have played 19 games.
Oh,
No,
they're
okay, yeah. If we win City game,
yeah.
yeah,
If we
yeah,
win
yeah,
City
yeah,
game and they
yeah,
draw,
yeah,
we will
yeah,
still
yeah.
be ahead by 1 point.
Correct.
So it honestly does not matter the goal difference. We just want like Arsenal to have try to have some self-respect and turn up in that if like let Arsenal get into top three, please. And like uh, I don't know, like they have enough time. You know, we just
No,
need a
wait. If Arsenal and Chelsea draw and Arsenal win, Chelsea win remaining of their games, and United also win remaining of their games, they'll be on level points.
okay.
Yeah.
So Arsenal just need to beat them 5-0 basically.
They- or
But then
United needs to beat City and Liverpool 10-0 to
I
increase the
think
goal
neither of
difference.
those things will happen. I
But
think
but the
like
way but the way Chelsea have scored, I think 13 goals in two games,
yeah.
I was like, damn, they're
That
on a
was
mission.
always going to happen, to be honest, because you know Chelsea are very very good when it comes to the last few games of the season. So that was definitely going to happen. I think it's a very difficult task for Arsenal as well to come away with even a point against them because they are in that mentality. Like it's very difficult to defeat Chelsea when uh,
And you've got
like
four
yeah,
ACL injuries. Your captain is out for a
yeah.
long term.
I still think Arsenal might be able to do it, but
I
I
think
think the
after I
biggest
saw them
difficult
draw against Wolfsburg, like they came 2-0 back, like they were trailing 2-0, I was like, okay, maybe this side isn't that lost. But
yeah,
then I think Laura got her ACL in the second leg.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I think another thing is that the question here where like will we win against City?
I don't
That
know.
is
Not if we play like we played today, honestly.
hmm.
Because obviously they've got Bunny Shaw.
uh, I think I think the City game. I'm not thinking that much about it because I was happy that but then City lost against Liverpool as well. So like we can win, but again Liverpool also beat Chelsea. So I think like Liverpool is like if you combine Liverpool and us, you get the perfect. I can't imagine I'm saying that, but I think yeah, I think we will struggle against Man City. The good thing is we've already secured the Champions League. Uh, I think
If City don't score 17, 18 goals in their next two games.
one of them is against us, so I think if we can like at worst if we lose and if we it's only like a one goal thing, so unless they come with like 15 goals against in the last game and we lose massively against Liverpool, I don't think that is going to happen. I think we're going to get second. uh, we might even come third, I think, if we lose both of our games. uh, but man, like just somehow winning the league at Liverpool is like the stuff of dreams. Like, can you
Imagine they'll
imagine
have to they like we'll have a trophy celebration on
if
Liverpool's
that
home
happens?
ground.
Like, I'm kind of sad it isn't at Anfield,
Yeah.
but but
uh,
but yeah. Uh, let's see.
yeah.
I think it's difficult.
Exactly. So now, like this whole heartbreak like discussion has turned into a prospective discussion, like how
About more
United,
heartbreak.
yeah, about how United can lose games in their in the remaining couple
uh,
of games.
I'm
But
half really.
yeah, that's it from our end, guys. I think Namrata and I always promise that we'll somehow restrict the discussion to 20-25 minutes, but we always end up making it more than 40 minutes. So next time we'll make it a little shorter. But yeah, I love the discussion. I think most of the pain that I was feeling came out in this discussion, and it's time to reflect back. And I think I'll have the courage to watch the game again because I want to see how many times we could have
I'm
scored.
not
Like
watching. I'm
No,
not
no,
watching.
I'll have to watch. I want to see how many shots we could have taken and like. Phew. Let's see. Thank you so much, Namrata, for joining in. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Do subscribe to the channel. Do like this video, and hopefully we'll win the league. And if not, it's been a good season. We've gotten CL. We reached the FA Cup final. So yeah, that's it from our end. Take care. Stay safe. Bye, guys.
Bye.